Hi guys, it's Jenna. I think today I want to discuss some things like some things that really we know as a transgender group that the media really doesn't talk about, but unfortunately we hear about it. I'm referring to things such as violence against the transgender community. Um, like I said, unfortunately, we hear these things when there's already been a hate crime uh, or some sort of hate act against someone who was like ourselves. I think we all knew that before we even came out, we were probably reading about some of these stories, and um, it was always in the back of our mind that um, we knew that when we came out, that there were going to be, some people out there who thought we were, just, um, I guess, again, going against, what society expects a man to be and what society expects a female to be. Um, but what I really wanted to emphasize, and what I wanted to emphasize on was the fact that it is a dangerous world out there. And when you do come out, and we think the difficult part is going to be coming out to our family, our children, our friends, co-workers, if you just happen to be employed at the time, and you wonder what kind of response you're going to get from those people, that you're around daily. Um, but I want to encourage everyone um, to not live in fear because we as an American society um, seems like we have to live in fear. There was the whole 9/11 thing. It was a tragic event that you know cost not only Americans but other people of other nationalities their lives. Um, we had a lot of fallen heroes. I know I'm going away from what I originally talked about, but um, we've been living in a society of fear ever since then. Uh, fear radical Muslims, fear, um, fear somebody that might get a hold of a nuclear weapon and want to use it against us or something like that. Yeah, those are everyday fears. We have to live with those every day, and we hope that we're just safeguarded, by our government, in every way to do that. But that kind of goes hand in hand with, you know, we're our government is so, you know, they're so dead set against having Americans. Um, I guess the word I want to say is having Americans hurt on their own soil. But think about it this way: what is our government doing to protect its own citizens again from its own citizens? Like the hate crimes, um, and we all have to admit, even if you're gay, lesbian, or bi, um, I, I know a lot of you guys. I don't exclude you guys. I understand why we're all in the same mix. It's because of the fact that we think we can push legislation through Congress if we're all one group tying in together. Sebastian, stop it. Um, but what I'm saying is our government is so focused on international crimes against the U.S. citizens that you know they're not even concerned or trying to enact any sort of legislation that will protect its own and will protect its own people from its own people. And you hear that all the time. And if you're not, then I'm telling you, we need to push our Congress to pass legislation, an all-inclusive legislation to protect people like us, especially the male to female transgender people. Um, Simply because of the fact of our biological makeup. And how we perceive ourselves and how we would like to dress. For example, I was I was born a guy. I couldn't help that. That's just the way it was born. That's not how I like to live my life, though. And time and time and time and time and time again, it just seems like the transgender community just keeps getting pushed to the side, pushed to the side, and pushed to the side. There for a while, we were screaming and yelling and saying Title VII protects us, you know, which was enacted in 1964 and signed into federal law, that there's no discrimination, harassment, um, and we could not say our Title VII rights were being infringed upon because of sex, because they define sex as man or woman. There's no gender identity clause in there, and therefore we were kind of pushed into, um, claiming on the grounds of disability. Now, I don't know if you're anything like me. I am not disabled. I've got all my fingers, I've got my toes, all of them. You can't see them. I've got my legs, I've got all my limbs, I've got my brain, got my heart, got everything. How am I disabled? Am I disabled because of the way I think mentally? Yeah, that's the way it was originally perceived. It was a mental classification that made you disabled. Well, sorry to say, but I'm not disabled. Not in any way. Now, what I need your help in doing is talking to other transgender people, and any time, any instance where you're out in public or you're at work or in a restaurant and someone just happens to harass you verbally, physically, in any sort of way, file a report. You don't have to know the name of the person. All you have to do is give a general description. If enough reports are filed, and that's where there's a lack of, a lot of transgender people, especially as male to female, are not filing reports and we're not speaking out. They will admit, law enforcement will admit, all of these surveys going all the way back to like 1996, when they started keeping track of hate crimes against transgender people, they will readily admit that, we only know the ones that actually come up and say something. Well, those instances are usually the only ones that get filed are the ones where one of us dies. And we die horrific deaths. We're talking about overkill. And what happens in that case is someone meets you, maybe a straight male, maybe a bisexual male. More than likely it's a straight male. They meet you, come to find out they want to get intimate with you. Come to find out you're not genetically a female. Whoa, big surprise. Then the hatred comes in. I think the hatred is brought on by embarrassment, because they start to question their own sexuality. I'm sorry, I don't walk up to someone and say, "Hi, my name is Jennifer, and I have a penis." They didn't walk up to me and say, "Hi, my name's Mark, and I have a 8-inch cock." We just don't do things like that. That's not how you meet people. That's not how I want to meet people. Back to what I was saying before I ramble on, because I love to ramble. If enough people in all of your states would file a report anytime something like this happens, it goes on record. If you're walking down the street and you're by yourself, or hopefully you're with some friends, and they call you faggot, or they call you, he, she, or they call you shemale, or they call you tranny, and they mean this in an obvious hurtful way, right? File a report. Get the police to come over to your house and say, "I want to file a report. I don't know who they are, but I've got a description of them. You know where it happened. You know when it happened." We have to file these reports. Otherwise, the case is, what they're saying is that there's not, I understand where they're coming from. It's not big enough of an issue to warrant a federal mandate. And that's where we have to change things. It needs to be a federal mandate. There are people who say, I don't want government in my life. No, if you're a Republican, you say you don't want government in your life until it, until it directly affects you. Then you welcome government. I'm all for government in my life, especially whenever it will make a rule across the board, across the nation. Not only the continental U.S. I'm talking about across the board. It says transgender people, because of their gender identity, are also included in this mandate. Push your congressman, write to the president. The president's got an email address. Now, granted, he probably doesn't read it all, but damn it, if enough of us would file these reports as they happen, when they happen, it's on record. It's on record. And I would follow up with it, guys, because those police records are available online in most states, if not all. They're available online. If you don't see it, you question why. We need to report acts of hate when they happen, anytime they happen. Anyway, I'm going to make another part to this video. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one short for right now because I've got a lot more stuff to say. I know I haven't said enough, and I usually don't do two-part videos. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to make another part. Stay tuned. Keep in touch. File those reports. Thank you.